All right, this is day 10, part 2. We are dealing with inverse matrices, and the question is, does an inverse exist? Well, not all matrices have inverses. Matrix A does not have an inverse if the determinant, and we know what that looks like, we can either write it as DETA, or we can see it like that, equals 0. So if the determinant equals 0, there is no inverse, okay? So I'm going to get you to find the inverses of a 2 by 2 matrix, all right? Which means I'm going to tell you now, we don't know if the determinant will equal 0. We're going to have to figure that out first. So to find the determinant, we're going to do our crisscross. So 4 times 3 is 12, minus -6 times -1 is 6. And 12 minus 6 is 6. This is our determinant. Now, we have to find the inverse. All right, so let's go for it. So we write that as a to the -1. It's kind of like when we did arc sine and arc cosine. It was sine to the -1. Those are inverses. So that's what we're doing here. So here's the formula. The inverse is 1 over the determinant. Okay? 1 over the determinant. So we're going to say 1 over 6 times, and look at this determinant. Do you see how these two here, I'm going to highlight them. These two changed places, and these two changed signs, okay? These two changed places, these two changed signs. So here we go. The 4 and the 3 are going to switch places, and the other two are just going to change signs and become positive. Okay, and now we do our scalar multiplication. We distribute. Okay, so 1/6 times 3 is 1/2. 1/6 times 6 is 1. 1/6 times 1 is 1/6, and 1/6 times 4 is 2/3. Put this in your calculator and reduce, and there's our answer. Okay, see how we're doing this? All right, let's try another one. First things first, determinant. So 8 times -1 is -8, minus 2 times -4 is -8. And if we put this in our calculator, 0, when we get this old 0 here, no inverse. Told you, determinant cannot be 0 in order to get an inverse. So let's try another one. How about we try number 6? All right, determinant first. These two. 8 times 5 is 40, minus -10 times 8. These two, -80. So the answer is 40 plus 80 is 120. This is our determinant. So we're trying to find the inverse. So it's 1 over 120. And now we're going to switch these two. So it's 5 and 8. And these two change signs. I made one negative again and one positive. Now distribute. Okay? So put these in your calculator so that you get them reduced. So your answer looks like this. 1 over 120 times 5 is 1 over 24. 120 times -8 is -115. 1 over 15. 120 times 10 is positive 1/12. And 120 times 8 is positive 115. And there's our answer. Okay? All right, you practice the other ones. The answer key is in Canvas too, but I want you to practice and make sure you understand how to do this. All right, I am going to go on past this, and we're going to talk about solving systems now with inverses. So I taught you how to solve systems already, but I taught you how to do it with determinants and just finding the x and finding the y. All right? Now I want you to use inverses to help you find it. And we're going to have to practice this a little bit so we get good at it. So let's look at it, example 1. So now we're going to write it a little bit different, okay? We're going to write it where, again, we do our coefficient matrix. So we put the x and the y, 7 and 5, and the negative 6 and the 1. That's our coefficient. And we now know we multiplied this times x and y. Okay? So when we multiply, it's row 1 times column. Okay? This will give us 7x plus 5y. That's how we multiply this. And it equals negative 14 and negative 25. Okay? That's how you write it as an equation. So we did. We still got to find the determinant. So let's do that first. Let's do our crisscross. So we have 7 minus negative 30, which equals 37. So that's my determinant. And now we're going to write the inverse. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to come over here and say, just like we've been practicing a few minutes ago, remember it's 1 over 37. And now we're going to switch these two. So I'm going to put the 1 here and the 7 here. And these two I'm going to change the sign. So this becomes a positive 6. This becomes a negative 5. And then I'm going to distribute. So 137 times 1 is 1/37. Okay. And then 1/37 times 6 is 6 over 37. And then 1 over 37 times negative 5 is negative 5 over 37. And then 7 over 37. Okay. Now we found the inverse. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to take the inverse and multiply it by b. Okay, this is your b right here. Okay, this is the a times b. Okay, so, but now we're using the inverse, which is all this. So now we're going to do 1 over 37 and 6 over 37 and negative 5 over 37 and 7 over 37. And we're going to multiply it by negative 14 and negative 25. Okay, so 2 by 2, multiplying, remember we got to do this. And this is a 2 by 1. These are the same. This is as difficult as I'm going to make it. Okay, yes, this seems like a lot of work, but this is as difficult as it's going to get. So we know our answer is a 2 by 1. A two rows, 1 column. 2 rows, 1 column. All right, so now we have just E11 to do and E21 to do. Okay, so E11, here we go. Row 1, So we're going to do 1 over 37 and negative 5 over 37 times column 1, negative 14 and negative 25. All right, so let's multiply these two together. 1 over 37 times negative 14, you get something. Let's see what you get. 1 over 37. 1 over, turn my calculator on. 1 over 37 times negative 14. You get negative 14 over 37. And you get, for this one, it is 125 over 37. If you add these two up in your calculator, you get 3. That goes here. Okay? Then let's do E21. E21, you have row 2, 6 over 37. And 7 over 37 times negative 14 and negative 25. And you get negative 84 over 37. And here you get, I'm using my calculator, same thing, negative 175 over 37. And if you add those up, you get negative 7. That goes here. Now, this is your coordinate point, 3, negative 7. And there is your answer. Okay? We'll practice this a bunch in class on Wednesday, but just keep practicing these. We'll have a review tomorrow for your quiz on Friday.